What's up, everybody? Marvel the Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. Today we are looking at Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 47, and today's title is Suspended. And so we're going to continue this storyline here. Basically, we saw last issue that Sharon Carter was being questioned about her knowledge on Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus, and now we're back into the present day, and we're going to be seeing the return of the Kingpin, Fancy Dan, Ox, and Montana. These are the enforcers, as well as we know Kingpin is, again, the Kingpin of crime, Wilson Fisk. So previously in Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man's first real victory as a superhero came when he defeated the notorious Kingpin of crime and his enforcers, Montana, Fancy Dan, and Ox. Spotty broke into the Kingpin's tower and found security camera footage of Kingpin murdering one of his underlings. Spotty then snuck the tape to the newspaper he works at, the Daily Bugle. When the story broke, the Kingpin was forced to leave the country to avoid arrest. And we're going to be seeing the return of Kingpin in this issue. This issue is brought to you by Brian Michael Bendis, who wrote this issue, Mark Bagley on the artwork, Art Thibber on the inking. We have Chris Ilopoulos on the lettering page, Mackenzie Cadenhead, assistant editor, Nick Lowe, assistant editor, Ralph Macchio, editor, C.B. Cebulski, associate editor, Joe Quesada, editor-in-chief, and Bill Jamos, president and inspiration. And we begin today's issue off, Spider-Man swinging through the city. Mary Jane has finally created a costume for Spider-Man that fits him snug and just great, tailored and just awesome. He's no longer in that spotty suit that he was wearing that was stretched out and too big for him. And so finally, Spider-Man is back in his good creative costume here, the classic red and blue, and he's swinging through the city trying to find some crime, and he hears a gunshot go off. So he's going to go and investigate this, and this is where he's going to run into the enforcers. It looks like the enforcers have escaped jail, and they are interrogating this guy right here. His name is Julio. For some reason, Julio owes Kingpin some money here. And so what we're going to see is that basically the enforcers are going to be forcing Julio rather, to fork over the money. And we see that I don't know why Ox is saying Beauty and the Beast. I don't know why he was singing that. And they're like, dude. And he's like, oh, sorry. And so he's like, all right, Julio, now just a cautionary tale. And he's about to shoot Julio right in the face when all of a sudden, while the gun goes off, his gun is covered with web fluid. Spider-Man breaks into the scene, and he's going to then fight the enforcers here. And the enforcers want payback on Spider-Man because he is the sole hero that caused them to go to jail in the first place. And so Spider-Man is going to fight. He has a big fight on his hand, but this time Spider-Man is more, I would say, accurate in his fighting abilities. He's not an immature kid as he used to be. He's had more fighting experience here. And so we see that Spider-Man is going to put an end to the enforcers for a little while. He's going to stop their plans in capturing Julio. And we see that Spider-Man is going to continue to avoid the gunfire and everything. The cops are then alerted here and like, crap. So what was that? You're a dead man, Julio. Wasn't me. Cops are coming. Yo, Dan, we got to get out of here. And all of a sudden, they are covered in web fluid here from head to toe. Thankfully, though, I guess they were able to get out of that situation, as they are now going to come up against the Kingpin here and just explain everything that happened. And we see that, I think this is Fancy Dan. Fancy Dan says, I don't know what to tell you, boss. The guy's all dressed in his feet pajamas and he's bouncing around. And we have Wilson Fisk, attorney here. His attorney Basically says, Mr. Fisk would like to know what this Spider-Man person was doing there. Was he working for Julio? At first I thought maybe, but no. He seemed surprised to us, and I mean, everyone got pinched. Not just us, everyone. Julio didn't know nothing. And the attorney says, you're very lucky that Julio was smart enough not to press charges, and I was able to sweep the rest of it under the rug. But not only did you not come back with the 1.2 million, so they were trying to get some money, the 1.2 million dollars that Wilson Fisk needs as he snuck back into the country. And we see that you made what Mr. Fisk would consider to be a spectacle of yourselves when the order of the day was to lay low. And we see Fancy Dan's like, or Montana rather, says, no, we were laying low. It was Spider-Man that Kingpin breaks the conversation by saying it's shooting off guns in the middle of the night. Kingpin is furious here, and he's like, how could I have gotten into this situation? How could I have gotten into this situation? There's a kid. You know this guy's a kid, right? Spider-Man is a kid, a teenage kid, and he has cost me $3 million. $3 million to get back into this country. And we see here that his attorney is going to say, I do have an idea that concerns one of our political interests. I won't get your money back, but it could. So who is this political interest? Well, it just so happens to be Sam Bullitt. He is running for district attorney here, and he is vowing that he is going to take down all superheroes and supervillains. He said to take our basically city back. He believes that the city has been overrun with superheroes, and he's going to put a stop to it. And he's come by the Daily Bugle to say some words to none other than J. Jonah Jameson, and Jameson is all for it. He shakes his hand, and they're now in a business deal, even though Joe Robertson's saying, Jonah, I thought we were going to discuss this before we... Parker is in the room, and he immediately is told to get out. Mary Jane comes by the Daily Bugle to check on her boyfriend here, and she hands him this list of everyone that knows the identity of Spider-Man. So that's just going to cheer him up just real fast here. And we see Peter Parker doesn't really appreciate it. He doesn't want to be reminded that there's a lot of people that know who he is. But then he's going to tell Mary Jane what's really on his mind, which is that there's this Sam Bullitt character. He's running for district attorney, and he's promising to say that Spider-Man sucks and vote for me because I'll take care of him for you. She's like, really? And she's like, well, screw him. He's a politician. That's like one step below, I don't know, something sucky. Ain't that true? And we see here that she's like trying to encourage Peter. She's like, just don't worry about it. I mean, most of the people that know who you are the good guys, like Nick Fury, the Ultimates, Captain America, the X-Men. They're superheroes. They're not going to, get against you. They're going to protect you. They're your friends. And so, what a great girlfriend here. And he's still reminded about the list. Look, Norman Osborn, Harry Osborn, Dr. Octopus, Nick Fury, Eddie Brock, Kirk Connors, Captain America, Wasp, rest of the Ultimates, Logan, all of the X-Men. And he looks back at the footage and he sees just how back in the day he kicked Dr. Octopus's butt here. And he's going to be stopped by this lady saying, get away from here, you mutant. We don't want you here. So people are confused and they are frightened at all superheroes. They think all superheroes are mutants, which is just not the case. And so we see that Spider-Man is going to not be violent. And he is like, nice lady, real nice. I want you to note the following, okay? I didn't try to hurt you. I'm not the one to throw something at you. And I didn't call you any names, even though you wore that hat out in public. And so when Peter Parker returns to the Daily Bugle, he realizes that there is a new article out showing that Wilson Fisk is being let loose, that he is basically being shown that everything that was on the videotape was a fraud. And he's like, I can't believe this. And we see that Ben Urich is leaving, even though he was responsible for writing that article. And it gets even more whacked out as we see that Jameson is going to fire Peter Parker for sticking his nose in, I guess, business that doesn't even belong to him, but really he's just curious. But Jameson has gone off the deep end here. He fires Peter Parker. He says, this isn't a place for kids. You're fired. Out. And so now Peter Parker has lost his job here. And so that is how we end this issue. And so what will happen next issue as we look at issue number 48? I mean, just crazy stuff is happening after one issue after the next. And so we'll have to figure out what happens next in issue number 48. I hope to see you there. But before then, go ahead and give this video a like. Comment down below what you liked about this issue. Subscribe if you have not. And I will see y'all in the next one.